Before we get into the episode, we want to take a moment to address the June 24th Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. This decision stripped away the legal right to have a safe and legal abortion. Restricting access to comprehensive reproductive care, including abortion, threatens the health and independence of all Americans. This decision could also lead to the loss of other rights. To learn more about what you can do to help, go to podvoices.help. We encourage you to speak up, take care, and spread the word.
Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We are a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nidia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
Last week, I told you about the mysterious death of one of the world's most courageous boxing champions, Arturo Gatti. His suicide was especially shocking since inside the ring, the man was known for never giving up. Mm-hmm. He was a punching bag in there. And then he took his own life mysteriously.
Or did he?
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about that case. And I don't always take them with me throughout the week, especially when they're, gruesome. But I have been I don't know. 1 and 1 does not make 3.
No.
Yeah.
And When they let her out of jail, she was all smiles. And that was 3 weeks after her husband
I
had been
hate
killed.
that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
She was all smiles, wearing shades, and with her, just giggling. And, yeah.
That's always a bad sign.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So this week, I'm going to tell you about how in 1817, a mysterious but attractive woman showed up near Bristol, England. She was wearing strange clothes and spoke in an unintelligible language that stumped the locals. Who was she? Where was she from? What if I told you she was royalty?
Okay, so she was a stranger from another land?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that's not that odd.
It's odd.
Okay.
It'll be odd.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it. And Dana's going to share that story with us. But first, the food. Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the V Podcast.
Cult. So the response from Dana was, because when I asked her about the theme,
I called her on the phone. I was like, we're going to have to talk about this.
Oh, damn. When you make a phone call, it's important.
She was like, Caribbean. I was like, got it. Done. Going with that. Then she proceeded to text me multiple times.
Okay.
This person's vegetarian. This person was it was from Indonesia. It was she liked tea. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I'm still going with the fish.
Yeah.
Because I had the fish in mind.
Okay.
Also, you guys vegetarian? Yeah.
We're pescatarians.
At the very least, I'm going to give you pescatarian. The sauce that I made that you see around the salmon, which has a crab stuffing to it.
Oh, shit.
Is a bok choy green curry sauce that I made.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And the yellowish rice that you're looking at is actually saffron rice.
Oh shit. Well, this looks amazing.
I can see the pieces of saffron, and saffron is expensive.
Yes, I can see the pieces of saffron.
Yes.
I've been dying to make saffron rice for a while, so I used this opportunity. While the dish is not fully Indonesian, I ran with it in the dessert side.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, so her place of origin is... That's why I wasn't really even sure where to tell her to go. Okay. Because her place of origin is precarious.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Can we dig in?
Let's do it.
All right.
We got seafood.
We did.
How do you feel about it?
Was there shrimp in there?
I have no idea.
There was some sort of like...
Wait, what?
I'll explain in a minute.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There was shrimp.
I don't know if it was shrimp.
I don't know if there was shrimp. I wouldn't know.
There was shrimp.
I'm allergic to shrimp.
Okay, so
No, shut up.
we'll stick an EpiPen in you. So my coworker said to me, I heard them talking about the seafood that was fantastic. It was like, just stick it in the oven, ready in 20 minutes. And I asked her, I was like, what did you get? So Sam's Club has a set of, it's like a set of 4 salmon stuffed with crab meat, seasoning, and spices, I guess. And just stick it in the oven for 20 minutes and you're done. Now, she says, here, do these couple other things, which I did the other couple things, minus the cheese. I didn't add cheese to it.
Never.
Yeah, cheese and
Never.
seafood?
Simply
I don't know
no.
about that.
Simply no.
Simply no.
I stuck it in the oven. I did the butter with it so that it cooked. Took it out. Added the sauce that I made, and boom, you guys had a full meal.
So what was the curry sauce? Tell us about it.
I want to continue talking about the stuffing inside the fish because that was not crab meat.
It was crab.
That was shrimp.
I don't know. The thing that I was...
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't think it was shrimp, but...
It was shrimp.
The thing I was feeling that... But I think it was from the sauce, not the stuffing, was like... Were there like those mini onions from a can?
It was not. It's the bok choy ribs.
Oh, bok choy ribs. I thought it was like those little pearl onions or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, which I was like, initially I was like, was that shrimp? But then I was like, no, it's an onion. But I think it was, why would you ever stuff shrimp inside of a salmon?
I've had the salmon with the shrimp inside.
And never in my life.
I've had that.
Never, ever.
Definitely. I've made it.
She made it. I didn't know she cooked.
Back when I was married, I did. No, I didn't taste any crab meat in there.
It just tastes like seafood stuffing.
Yeah, it was fucking delicious.
It was so good.
Oh my god. And the sauce? The curry? That was curry?
That was a green curry.
I've always been scared of curry because, like, you know, it's like curry equals spicy. So I've always, like, sort of avoided curry for me because I've always been so scared of it. But that was delicious. I don't know if it was the first curry I've ever had, but probably... Yes, maybe, or the first handful of times.
Well, I equate curry with coconut, and I don't like coconut flavor. In my like savory sauces, I don't like it. So I don't tend to like curry because I equate it with coconut.
So I guess maybe I have had curry then because I eat Thai food that has that coconut, which I do love that. And also it's not spicy; it's a sweet kind of sauce.
So this curry is a Thai green curry paste that I used. It does have coconut milk in it. Threw in the bok choy stalks first, sauteed all of it, added the paste, added the coconut milk, and then the bok choy, the actual leaves, I added that in, and it just turned into this.
The coconut milk didn't overpower the flavor for me, and I normally don't like it. That jasmine rice, though.
Basmati.
That was... wait, it wasn't jasmine rice. It was...
Saffron.
Saffron rice. That saffron rice. Oh, my.
And I love the little pieces of saffron that match Cindy's hair.
How do you know it wasn't Cindy?
I don't. We can't be sure.
We can't.
The world may never know.
Yeah.
The rice was fantastic. I mean, Cindy can make rice in her sleep. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly... I probably eat more rice in the last year than I have in my life because you make rice a lot. But I am certainly not complaining. I really, really love it.
And the crazy thing is, I think I've made you rice in very different each time.
Yeah.
So I can make rice in about at least 100 different ways, and none of them taste the same.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm really into it.
Yeah, now let's talk about the Hooptea we're drinking.
I fucking love this.
It's called Hooptea.
Yeah,
it's a spiked iced tea.
I'm into it.
Now describe the can.
The can has a Scooby van on it with surfboards and beach balls and like airplanes with flags and stuff in the background. The lifeguard stand, and it's a beach drink, man. This is what you take to the beach
If you're a hippie.
Yeah, it's so good. I fucking will drink the shit out of this.
If it came in a tie-dye can, it would be Dana's signature drink.
I love that it's called a Hooptea. It's fantastic. I could drink this. It does not even taste like there's alcohol in it.
Which is dangerous.
Which is a real fucking problem. Because I could drink these all day long in the hot sun.
Even at work.
At work, floating in a floaty, like just sitting in the lake drinking these. Yeah. Oh my God, these would be a real problem for me.
Till you're fully shit-faced.
Oh yeah. I'm like, someone call me an Uber. They're so good. Iced tea is my favorite thing in the whole entire world.
Yeah, you
may have heard, but the fact that it doesn't even taste like alcohol, which when I first started drinking. When I first ever was 21 and got to go to
21.
No, I mean truly. When I first was allowed to legally drink.
Oh, okay,
let me rephrase that.
Yes.
The first time I was got to the bar and was like, I'm gonna order an alcoholic beverage, and I knew 3. It was like, can I have a beer? What kind of beer? I don't know, Coors Light, because I don't know how to say words, or a Jack and Coke or a rum and Coke. That was what I would always, a rum and Coke, because it feels like you're not too dumb that you can order a rum and Coke. You know what's in a rum and Coke. You can probably drink that. It's probably fine. But then I learned about Long Island iced tea. And my friend, if you ever see me drinking a Long Island iced tea, immediately call us a taxi. Immediately, we need to go home. Shit is about to go down. I should not be drinking Long Island iced teas. If you ever see me drink one, it's time to go home immediately.
Grab your purse.
For real, send us home, because that means I am on one. It means I'm on one to the point that I didn't know what I wanted to ask for at the bar, so I panicked and said Long Island iced tea, and they fuck me up, and I just can drink them one after the other, and it's usually a real big problem, but they're my favorite thing in the whole entire world.
And that's the biggest bang for the buck, really.
Truly. Oh, God, I fucking love them. And they're so good. They're so good.
My new drink, thanks to Cindy, is the Moscow Mule.
Oh my God!
And the spiced rum and Coke.
Captain and Coke.
Captain and Coke. Oh my God!
That used to be my go-to, and I remember how she ripped into me for that.
I know. I love that you're just finding out about Captain and Coke.
Yeah, because I really hated on her.
She did. Yeah. So hostile.
Until I drank it. And then I was like, oh, I see what this is about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was singing the praises of the Moscow Mule the other night around the fire. I was at camping, and we were talking about drinks and things we like drinking. I'm like, have you guys ever had a fucking Moscow Mule? Which of course no one had. And I'm like, it's life-changing. Truly, it's I love it. It's my new favorite drink.
Yeah, it's delicious.
But this is up there. I will stock my fridge with these. These are really good.
Yeah.
Speaking about drinking at work, maybe I should start drinking at work, because I had a very weird thing happen to me the other day. I had a lady, a couple come in, a husband and wife. And the husband went to one of my coworkers, and I had the wife. And the husband looked like he was going to be problematic. You could tell on his card that he had a lot of restrictions. He was going to be a pain in the ass. He can't lay this way. He doesn't want to do this. Don't touch this. But whatever. And those kind of people are very annoying to work with. So I was thank God I have the wife, because I just can't. I just cannot be bothered with these kind of people. So she comes in, and she's kind of got a weird little soft voice, really soft. And she was mostly nice. She was fine. And she had a million questions, which whatever. And then I get her on the table, and then she proceeds to not say a word, which is my favorite kind of client. Not a word. Do the whole massage, turn her over, do the whole massage. We have this weighted blanket that we put on their back while we put it on their back, and then I work on their legs and their feet. And then I take the weighted blanket off. I put it away. I wash my hands, whatever. So I'm done the massage, and I go over to her. And I usually rub their back a little bit and just go, there you go. I'm going to step out of the room. And whenever you're ready, you can get up, and I'll freshen your glass of water, and I'll meet you in the hall. And she goes, hey, hey, hey. And it startled me. I yanked my hand back. It was what? It was so alarming. It was out of nowhere. She did not say anything for the previous 75 minutes, not a word, not a peep, not a sound, and then just, hey. I was like, what the fuck was that? What just escaped from your body? Like, I hated that. Why did that happen?
Something entered her body is what happened.
I fucking hated it. I was like, that was alarming. And then I immediately went out and was like, this bitch just went, and then everybody was like doing it. It was like, it's not funny.
Wait, your hand recoiled.
I mean, I was like, it startled me. Like,
You
it was
yanked your hand back.
It was alarming because I was like, Satan? Like, what are you doing? Why are you being weird? Why are you saying weird noises? Like, imagine. Like, I just sometimes I want to be like to people when they act weird. Like, imagine what this is like for the other person. Like if you just like made a random noise at a random person you don't know, like,
right? Don't you wish you had a remote control and you can stop it and you're like, all right, let's replay this.
Thank you, because like that was real strange, lady. Like, why did that happen?
What was she like when she met you outside?
Like, she didn't just do a super weird, creepy thing. Like, she was just like, thanks so much. That was a wonderful massage. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go over here, I guess. Like, I don't know where to put my hands. Like, it was...
What was her husband like?
He was just like, they were like...
No, like, for the other person who
she said he was perfectly fine once she got him on. They usually are, right? Like, a lot of times people are like, they ask a million questions because they're nervous, and sometimes I have to give people a little bit of grace because... For me, you know, it's the 100th massage I've done this month. You know what I mean? But for them, it might be the only massage they're getting ever or in a year or in a couple of years, you know? And sometimes it's hard for me because, like, I had a lady today that came in and was like, I had breast augmentation and I need to lay like this and I need to have a towel and I need to have this and I need to have that. You know, she wanted me to raise the headrest up. I raised the headrest up. I already knew it was going to be too high. Halfway through, she wanted me to lower the headrest. And then she's like, now I understand why you have the headrest where you do. Yes, because I know what I'm doing. Like, and I just want to be like, if you would just shut the fuck up and let me do my job, you're going to have a great experience. But, like, people just can't because they're like, I'm spending so much money and I want it to be exactly what I want it to be. And, like, it's just, you know, it is hard for me to, like, be like, okay, you have to remember that this is just their one and only massage, you know, or whatever. Yeah. So it is hard for me sometimes because there's, like, these little trigger words that just, like, immediately, like, fucking grate my nerves.
What are they? Let's do a David Letterman 10 trigger words of massage.
I don't know if I could do 10, but like when they go, you can go as deep as you want. So then you have to go through the whole dance. Would you like to upgrade to a deep tissue? Oh no, that's too deep. Okay. So you don't want to pay for a deep tissue, but you want to have a deep tissue. Got it. Or when they're like, I want all of the massage to be on my back for 50 minutes. Okay. Or fuck you if you say 90 minutes. I would probably say no. But when they're like, all of the massage, and I know, listen, I'm so sorry because I know some people do this, and I partly get it, but it's very fucking annoying to do a 50-minute back massage. Like, there's only so much back there. Right. It's boring. It's just boring for me. Right. So, like, and there's more to it than just your back, right? If you have low back pain, probably it's because your hips and legs are tight. You probably need your legs worked on. If you have shoulder pain, it's your neck, it's your arms, it's more than just your back, you know? Wow. So it's like, so for someone to be like, I want all of the massage to just be on my back, and I want to be like, no. But then I have to remember, like, they're paying a lot of money, like, this is what they want. Right. So, like, you do accommodate them to the best you can, but, like, when they do it for 90 minutes, you're just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, and I would never be like, I'm not gonna do that. I usually, like, explain that to what, and they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's the, you know, when a little bit of conversation usually gets that out of them, but like it does, like, there's immediate, like, the lady today that like wanted a pillow for her chest and wanted a thing, and she also was like, you can go as deep as you want. I don't know why they say that. Like, break that sentence down. You can go as deep as you want.
So you mean hurt
do you
my
think
hands.
I want to work hard?
Right.
Do you think I want to do that? I don't want to. Right. I don't want to work on you at all. I want you to just give me your money and go away. Like, I don't want to do this at all.
Well, that's a simply no.
Right. Listen, I agree that this is a mutual exchange of benefits here, but like, no, I don't want to. I'm going exactly as hard as I want to, probably harder.
Do you ever get like a running joke that they always do? Like,
well, they always ask the same million questions. You know, where'd you go to school? Did you grow up here? Did you grow up at the beach? Did you grow up here? yes, bitch, I fucking grew up here. But, like, not here. So then I have to be like, I grew up just outside of Atlantic City because I didn't grow up where I work, you know, which is, they're two totally different places. I actually have some corny jokes that I say. Like,
Really? Let's share them.
everyone has knots in their shoulders.
Right.
Everyone. I mean, I've worked on little kids that have knots in their shoulders.
You've worked on little kids?
Yeah, like, even, like, Gage, when he was little and played sports and stuff, I would, like, massage his little shoulders and stuff. He always hated it. But sometimes if he had an injury or whatever. But little kids would even have, like...
Yeah.
Little knots in their shoulders. And it's just, this is what it is. You know, they're not even knots. Like, they're just, you know, buildup of scar tissue. They're all kinds of things. So people will always be like, this thing is not. And then I'll hit the other side because there's always, and I'm like, oh, you got a matching pair. And they love it. They fucking eat it up. It's so fucking cool. I say it. I fucking say it 10 times a day. I'm like, oh, there's your matching pair.
Little do they know that you love and hate it.
Little do they know, like, as soon as I put the eye mask on everyone's pillow, like, I put a little pillow on their eyes, I give them the fucking middle finger like this, and then I just move on. It's like, this is how I get my, like, energy out, you know? Gotta give them a little middle finger when they're not looking. And it makes me feel better.
I'm so glad
about my life.
I'm so glad that giving people the middle finger behind their back.
Oh my God, you have no idea. They need to have the middle finger because it's for my mental health.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because then you have people that go when they get up off the table. And you're like, fucking what the fuck?
That's so weird. She fully needed an exorcist after that.
It was so strange. I was like, why did you do that? Fuck did you do that?
Wow. Talking about work.
Yes.
I do this thing. I was heading to the bathroom, and on the way to the bathroom, I was crop dusting on my way there.
Were you passing cubicles? Please tell me you weren't.
I passed probably 3 cubicles.
Oh my God. You are too young for that. That's grandma behavior.
I don't care. So I'm walking, and, you know, as you walk, you don't smell yourself. So, like, you're walking and then going. Because usually I don't have those issues unless I eat certain foods, right? Uh-huh. So I'm walking and I'm going, doing my thing, going to the bathroom to go TT. And I stop in front of the person that I've been dying to talk to all day because I needed to get some info. Uh-oh. And I stopped to talk to him because I hadn't smelled myself. And I'm standing there, and we're doing the distance. So he's like about 10 feet away from me, but we're talking. And it caught up with me.
Oh, God, no.
While he's talking to me. He's standing by one of the bathroom doors. And it fully hit me, and we're in mid-conversation. And I am like, I can't move from here. I can't move from here. I hope he thinks it's the bathroom. And we're just having a full conversation at this point. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But he was like, we finished up talking. I was like, oh, I'm gonna hit the bathroom and then go back to my corner. But I was just like, oh God, I hope he did. Because we had some distance, so I'm hoping it never caught up to him like it caught up to me. Because it fully caught up to me.
I'm just picturing, like, the Bugs Bunny Dust Bowl, like, coming up the hallway, like, billowing behind her, like, filling up the room with green smoke. And you know it's your own brand, right? Like, you're like, fuck, that was me. That was me.
Because it was fully me. And I was like, because I normally, I walk around, I might crop dust, but usually, you know, I walk pretty slowly fast, but fast enough that I just get away from it and go to the other side. And it's not an everyday occurrence. It's you know,
this is the most psychotic thing.
Girl, I'm not holding it, and we got a small bathroom, and there's always someone in there. So it's like, can I get in there and can I just fart in private?
But here's the thing, like, when you announced that you needed to go to the bathroom, you kind of put your signature on that.
Yeah. That was thinking that too. I'm like, that was a mistake. You should have been like, I got to go to the copy machine.
Yeah. Well, no, we were literally in the hallway towards the bathroom. There was nothing there other than the bathroom.
I would have done another lap.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst. Like, that you just for me, when it's like me and the guest, it was like, it was either me or you, bitch. Like, it was me or you. So, like, I can't, like, let one slip out.
And sadly, here's the thing. I cannot go number 2 at work. So, in public, in any public. So, like, I have to, if I have to do that, I have to go home.
You can crop dust your entire fucking office.
But she can't go number 2.
I can't go number 2.
That makes no sense.
Go to therapy.
I do go to therapy.
You need to discuss your goals shifting. You need to be able to shit at work.
I cannot. And it doesn't matter if it's work. It's anywhere. I can't go anywhere but like places that I feel comfortable going.
Now, what if you had the situation where I had the other night where I had to pull over at a Wawa in the middle of the night? Like, could you do that?
I'm not sure if I can. I've never been in that situation. I was one time I lived an hour away and I was at work and I remember calling my boss. I'm going home. I hung up, drove 45 minutes to the house.
I've done that.
Yeah, fully. I just cannot go. I currently live 7 minutes from my job. If I gotta go number 2, I'm going home.
I'll one up you. I took a trip with a new boyfriend, and I think we went to Mississippi. And when I came back, I didn't poop the entire time. And it was like a 3 or 4 day trip. And when I came back, you know the air pressure in the plane? My stomach, I looked like I was 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I unleashed. I held it that entire time because I just couldn't.
But sometimes when you're on vacation, you get like vacation constipation. Yeah.
Well, outside of that, there's some Patreon stories that we'll leave right there. We're not going to go into there. But there are some Patreon stories about some things that have happened. Also, me and Danny would not fart in front of each other almost for a whole year while we were dating. Not because, and it wasn't even because. Yeah, Nydia. 40 years.
I refuse to.
But we did it solely for the fact of we were trying to beat each other out. Who's going to be the first one?
Oh. Can we have dessert and stop talking about this?
You know how I feel about farts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind if I do it, but you'd better not fucking fart around me. I have fart trauma. I'm sorry. What is it?
This is a tart.
It's a tartlet?
It's a tart, yes. So, again, Dana's story is out of Indonesia. This is called, kind of, inspired. This is called Pai Susu Bali. It's Balinese milk tarts.
Milk tart.
Okay.
It's a milk tart.
I like the raspberries.
I'm going to call you a milk tart.
This looks delicious. Let's dig in.
Let's do it. I'd like to report a tragic event. The berries fell off of Nydia's tart. It was really sad. I feel really bad for you because my blackberries and raspberries were so good.
I considered for a second the 5-second rule, but Dana has a furry rug under here.
And a furry cat, so
I was like,
I guess we could have rinsed him off or something, but
there he goes.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you because the tart was really good with the berries. Now, when you say milk tart, it kind of reminds me, do you know who Kalen Cooks is? He's like a YouTuber. He's like on Ellen a lot. He's really fucking funny. And he like watches videos
and
reacts to them and then sometimes makes the food. So he made this, he's fucking hysterical. But he watched this video of like this milk, they like made this milk solid, like froze it, and then they took it and put a stick in it, and then they like fried it on the ends and put like cinnamon and sugar on it. It was the nastiest looking thing. And when you were like a milk tart, I was like, no, I'm not going to fucking like that. It was like, all I was thinking was like fried milk globlets. But this was actually more solid for me than like a flan or something. This was much more of a consistency that like didn't make me want to like gag at all.
Yeah, it was like a custard, like a vanilla custard tart.
It was almost more like a pie. Like it was more solid than even like a custard can be.
And that's probably why they called it a pie.
Oh, it's a pie. Okay. It's not a tart. It's a pie.
Oh.
Or I guess it's a tart, but...
Well, under the actual recipe's name, it's pie susu Bali.
Oh, pie. Susu Bali.
Okay.
Well, I like it. The crust was good and crispy.
Yeah.
The fruit is... We loved it. I certainly did.
I wish I could have an opinion on the fruit.
Sorry about it.
You could have done like I did. I ripped up my berries and I spread it all over the...
Yeah, she like mushed it into hers, and then Nydia was picking hers up like they were going to magically stick to it for some reason.
Hindsight 2020. Also, mistakes were made.
Yes, they were.
After my berries fell on the floor and I said my final goodbyes and threw it in the trash, I looked over at Cindy's and I was like, that could have been a possibility.
That's way smarter. Now, as the chef, this feels like you're responsible for this tragedy.
No, you can have the berries whatever way you wanted them to be on there.
I mean, I eat my berries. But I thought it was pie, what is it, susu Bali?
Pie susu Bali. That's what it says.
I like it. I'd eat it again.
Yeah. I'm saving the other half of mine because I have high blood sugar.
Yeah, your sugar's high. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
So I'm going to take the other half home and eat it later.
Yeah.
I have some strawberries in the
got some berries? All right, good. That's good.
So this is actually made with condensed milk, regular milk, and a few other ingredients.
Milks.
But 2 milks are in there,
Oh, God.
So it's dos leches.
Dos leches, yes.
Dana's farts.
Cindy's like, yeah, crop dust in the podcast.
Let's hope it doesn't come down to that.
Let's hope we get this story out.
I'm Edward October. There's only one way to serve a fine bourbon, poured neat and slowly savored. The retro horror stories served by Octoberpod are just as refined as an aged bourbon, but now there are 2 ways to enjoy them. Subscribe to Octoberpod Home Video on YouTube. There we debut our latest true, true-ish, and/or classic tales of horror and the paranormal on the first and third Tuesday of each month. And now you can pour yourself a double serving of Octoberpod. Find Octoberpod After Midnight, that's Octoberpod AM for short, on your favorite podcast app. There, on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, we serve up tall glasses of our most horrifying spirits, specially curated for you to savor. Each episode of Octoberpod AM lasts about an hour, just long enough to sip a good scotch by the fire. Now there are 2 ways to enjoy retro horror thrills of impeccable taste. Find all our links at octoberpodvhs.com. Octoberpod, retro horror for bold individualists.
Do you want to hear a story?
I sure do.
Okay. Today I got my story from Rissologist.net and Wikipedia. So the Rissologist website is an archived story written about this incident from 1817. So some of it I like. It's actually pretty easy to read, but sometimes in the 1800s they speak a little wonky. This was actually not that bad.
Okay.
But a lot of the story is from that. So I'm going to tell you about Princess Caraboo. Do you know about her?
No.
Okay. So picture it. Near Almondsbury in Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire? in fucking sunny old England, okay?
Got it.
On the 3rd of April, 1817. It's a Thursday evening. A mystifying woman had appeared at the home of a cobbler in the village.
A cobbler is a shoe builder.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Little like
Yep.
that. Or they make pies. The world would never know. She was disoriented, wearing odd clothing and speaking in a language that no one had ever heard. She mimed that she wanted to eat and that she needed to sleep. But the cobbler's wife was having none of it. She's like, get the fuck out of here. So she calls over the local overseer of the poor to come and get her. So I did like look up what an overseer was because like it just is like a person who sees over things. But also in America, it's the person who ran the slave houses and things.
Oh, really?
But like in England, I guess it was like the person who ran like the poorhouses or not really the cops, but like something in between.
Social services?
Yeah, but I think way before that was like a thing. Like they would be like round up like vagrants and be like, we don't like poor people around here. Go to the poorhouse. You know what I mean? Or go to jail.
Okay.
So I think that's what his job was. So they call the overseer to come and get him. When the overseer was not able to communicate with her properly, he thought it best to bring her to the home of the local county magistrate, Samuel Worrell, and his American-born wife, Elizabeth. When she got to the mansion, she was afraid to, like, enter the doors. She, like, put up a bit of, like, a fight, like, trying to get her into the mansion. She had a small bundle on her arm containing a piece of soap pinned to a piece of linen, just like a little knick-knacky things, not anything for survival. She was dressed in a full black gown with a muslin frill around the neck, a black cotton shawl on her head, and a red and black shawl around her shoulders, but loosely and tastefully put on in a way that like was reminiscent of cultures from the Orient.
Okay.
She wore leather shoes and black stockings. She had small features, like a small head. Her eyes and hair were black. Her forehead was low. Her nose was short. She had the complexion of a brunette. I don't know what the fuck that means. Her cheeks were faintly tinged red. Her mouth rather wide. White teeth. Large lips. And a full underlip that projected out a little. Her chin was small and round, and her height was about 5'2". Her hands were clean and apparently unaccustomed to labor. No earrings, but the marks of previously wearing them. And she appeared to be around 25. Now, this description was taken from Caraboo, a native of a singular imposition. And this was the story I was telling you that was written by John Matthew Gutch in 1817. So the Worrells were known to have a man in their employ that spoke in a variety of languages. I think he was from Greece, and he spoke a bunch of different languages. So they were like, this guy will know what she's speaking.
Right.
You know? So they bring her there, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck language she's speaking. Immediately no. So Samuel Worrell concluded that she must be a beggar, and that she should be taken to Bristol and tried for vagrancy. Which feels extreme to me a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
It's a little bit much, I think.
Yeah, you're poor, so let's punish you for it.
Let's put you in jail for being poor.
Back in the day, they used to put you in the mental institutions if you were poor as well.
Before his wife could allow it, she wanted to see if they could figure out where she had come from. Maybe she was a bored housewife with nothing better to do. But an American white woman was on the case.
The good old American white woman.
That's right.
And what is it? Caucasian curiosity?
That's right. She had to know. She was going to name it a little cute name and make an Instagram for her. They paid to have her stay in a local inn for the night. And when she gets to the inn, she recognizes a picture of a pineapple and she calls it ananas. This is a clue because that's how people said pineapple in Indonesian languages. Hence the food.
Also in like a major part of the world.
That they say pineapple ananas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, Americans are, like, the only people that say pineapple. Like, Western cultures are the only ones that call it pineapple.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, this was a clue that maybe she came from, like, Indonesian area. She also had to be shown how to use a bed rather than to sleep on the ground. The next morning, when Elizabeth Worrell showed up with fresh clothes, she asked her to be honest with her. She said, I have a feeling you can understand me in my own language, and if that's true, I can help you. I won't say anything. I'll give you some money and send you on her way. But the woman really didn't understand what Elizabeth Worrell was saying. She seemed very grateful to have fresh, clean clothes, but she did not know what she was saying. She wanted to see if she could get her to write. You know, she's trying to, like, figure out what her language is. The woman was crying out the words caribou, caribou, and, like, pointing to herself. So they concluded, like, her name must be Caraboo. She appeared to be delighted by little Asian trinkets on a dresser in some of the rooms at the inn. And this also felt like a clue. So, like, maybe she's from that area, in Indonesia and China and, you know, in that area. But where? Where's she from? They tried to feed her, and she was horrified at the sight of the meat. She balked at the suggestion of beer or cider. She only ate fruit or vegetables and drank water or tea.
Was it Hooptea?
Hooptea, yep. She was very fond of Indian curry, which she would even cook for herself. So she knew how to cook foods of other cultures. She seemed to pray over her food by covering her eyes with her hands and repeating like a sort of chant. Some clergy came with books from all over the world to see if she could recognize languages, or maybe she's from this place or that place. She didn't understand anything. Eventually, they took her to St. Peter's Hospital to be checked out, and it was unclear how long she was there. Like, maybe she was there a day, maybe she was there a week. While she was there, she like didn't want to eat any of the food. She didn't like any of the food, which, I mean, it's a hospital, you know. Eventually, they find this Portuguese sailor named Manuel Yanesso, or Ennis, and that he said he knew what language she was speaking, and he could translate for her. So according to the sailor, she was Princess Caraboo from the island of Javasu in the Indian Ocean. She had been the daughter of a person of rank of Chinese origin, and her mother was a Malay woman who had been killed by cannibals. Now, if you want to read this whole story, like this whole in-depth tale, follow the link in here, because it goes on and on and on of like what her childhood was like, that her mother was killed by these cannibals that like ate her, and they go into very racist detail of like what they were like. They say like what her childhood was like, of like all these like ways that she dressed and way that, you know, what her culture was like. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It goes on for like pages and pages and pages. So I didn't add all of that, but I do think it is interesting if you want to look at it. It's just right in this hyperlink. Go check that out.
Wait, so how did she end up there?
That's a very good question. One day, she was walking in her garden, because she's a princess, and she had 3 of her ladies with her. And they were ambushed. They were tied up, their wrists, or their feet, and their mouths, by pirates and kidnapped and sold into slavery. Her father had jumped into the water to swim after them and tried to save her, and he even shot an arrow at the men that were taking her, but his aim was a little off, and he shot one of her ladies, who died on the boat.
Oh, no.
After 11 days, she was sold to a captain of a brig called Tapaboo. From there, she was with them for weeks. Like, the way the story went, like, she was there for 4 weeks. They stopped at a port. They were at that port for 5 weeks. They picked up more women, and it was just, like, all of these, like, she was with them for a few months at sea. She jumps off the ship. She finds an escape. She jumps off the ship, and she swims to shore, and that's how she ends up in the Bristol Channel, and that's where we meet her, in the village. The Worrells took the princess into their home. She lived there with them for 10 weeks, and this exotic woman of royalty was a favorite with the local dignitaries. People fucking... They loved it. I mean, they pranced her around. They sopped it up like a proper Yorkshire pudding. Like, they fucking loved this shit. And boy, did she put on a show. She used a bow and arrow. She fenced. She swam naked. She prayed to a god whom she named Allah Ta'ala. They would give her ink and paper to try to figure out her languages. And I was telling Cindy, like, that in the hyperlinks, like, it shows some of the images that she drew. Like, she wrote out numbers. She, you know, it was a whole thing. She tried to explain the ports that she had been to with the pirates, because they were like, okay, maybe we can track where she had been and we can find out where she came from, you know. But then when they would ask her questions, like, what kind of colors of the flags were there, you know, and she would like put her hands over her eyes and like indicate that she'd been like below deck and she didn't actually see anything, or she didn't really know. But she did try to draw like a crude map, you know, trying to indicate where she had been, which would be an odd thing to do if you like plucked a person from a strange land and were like, draw a map of all the ports you've been to. Like, that would be weird.
Right. Like, I can't draw a map and I have internet.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The Worrells got her some exotic clothing, and her portrait was painted and reproduced in the local newspapers. She would get very excited by things that came from China or the East, like fabrics and fans and Chinese puzzles, like those little things. And she would indicate that they came from her father's country. They steady tried to trick her to speak in English, or, you know, to trip her up somehow, especially the people who worked in the house, like the housemaids or whatever. They had slipped like meat pigeon, I think, into her food, and she would never eat it. But she was handed a live pigeon, and she cut off its head and drained it of blood and buried the blood in the head in the dirt. Like, very gruesome acts.
That shit's crazy.
Yes, right. So, like, that's a wild thing to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? She prayed in the morning and at night. She fasted on Tuesday, like, strictly fasted on Tuesdays.
Why did she rip the...
I don't know. Like, it was... I don't fucking know. Like, it was... So the behavior was very interesting because it would seem like what Western culture might imagine what indigenous cultures may act like.
Okay.
Right? But also she would do things that were very Western, like praying in the morning and at night, praying over her food. Like many other cultures don't like pray over their food. That's a very like Christian thing to do. I don't think every religion prays over their food. So it's like kind of an odd thing that she's doing. She's like blending all of these cultures.
Okay.
It's very strange.
Right.
And some people don't believe that she's Princess Caraboo. Most of those people happen to be the servant level people. They're
that
like,
don't believe her.
Yes, they're just like, no. And they're just like, we're not going to treat you like you're above us because you're definitely not royalty. You know what I mean? Like they felt like insulted, I think, that they had to serve her food and treat her like a dignitary when they did not believe she was.
Okay.
Of course, they would never say that like in front of the rich people because the rich people definitely believed that she was Princess Caraboo.
Right.
They were like, yes, we have a princess from a weird indigenous land and we just like, it's like a freak show to them,
Right.
Were they trying to get her back to her land? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they were trying to like parade her around like some Barnum and Bailey's type situation,
Yeah.
So the servants thought they could get her to like catch her talking in English in her sleep, maybe, or they would startle her awake and like see if she would like accidentally speak in English or whatever. But she never did. She never did. She would walk around mumbling in her own language, and the language was eventually attested to by Dr. Wilkinson, who identified her language using Edmund Fry's Pantographia. And stated that there were like these scars on the back of her head, that they were the work of Oriental surgeons, which is not a very PC term, but that's what it was called back then.
Got it.
The newspapers published stories about Princess Caraboo and the adventures, bringing national acclaim to her. Like, they were just like, she's from this foreign land. She's so beautiful. She escaped from pirates. Like all these like fantastical stories,
Right.
She became very popular in her weeks with the Worrells. But popularity comes at a price.
Oh.
A boarding house keeper, Mrs. Neal, recognizes her from the pictures in the Bristol Journal and informed the Worrells of her true identity. The would-be princess, in truth, was Mary Baker from Withrich in Devonshire. So like another part of England.
Okay.
All right, bit of a joke, I guess. So she, Mary Baker, was born in 1791, and she received no formal education. At the age of 8, she was employed in a spinning wool factory or something. In the summer months, she often drove farmers' horses and weeded their corn. From her earliest years, she always had ambition to excel, beyond her means. Whether any particular game she played at, or in cricket, or swimming in the water, or fishing with her friends, she always wanted to be the best,
Okay.
At the age of 16, her father and mother procured her a situation at a farmhouse in the town she was from. She stayed there for about 2 years, looking after the children, and she carried sacks of corn and apples on her back, and she longed to be more than a laborer. She left because they were not paying her what she thought she was owed. She asked for a raise, and they were like, nah, and she's like, all right, fuck you. So she went back home, and then her parents, they died, and she got other jobs. I think that she got pregnant at some point. She got pregnant, and she put the baby in a poorhouse. The baby ended up dying, but it was unconclusive of was it the guy she was working for as child? Was it somebody who was a little more rich or married, and they weren't gonna marry her, so she couldn't afford to take care of the baby, whatever. But that baby ended up dying anyway. Which is sad.
Yes.
When she was working in the fields and all, she was inventing this fictitious language from imagery and just things she heard in Romani language, just things she's picked up. She would just make up this little weird language. And I think it just came from her being a little bored and a little odd and a little just not,
I love that for her.
Yeah, being linked up with anybody, So the odd marks on the back of her head were actually cupping Do you know what this is?
Cupping.
Cupping?
I do, but explain it.
So it's actually kind of like a thing in the massage world too, but they like take the glass cups and they like heat them up, like usually with candles or some sort of smoke or whatever heat.
Right.
And then they put it on the skin and it like is supposed to like draw out the impurities, whatever.
And it creates like a suction.
Yes, right. And I guess she had scars from like it happening on the back of her head. So they mistaken them for like some weird like Asian thing, I guess. That's probably what it is, you know? But like, no, it was like, you guys fucking did this to her, you idiots. Right. So the people around who didn't think that she could speak English would just talk about her in front of her.
Oh, wonderful.
So she was able to like use the things that she would said and then use it against them to like make her lie seem more believable, you know, like, oh, well, she doesn't do this. And then like later in the week, she would start doing that thing. Right. So she had heard the people saying like, oh, we're going to try to wake her up. So she stayed awake those next couple of nights to make sure that if they tried to wake her up, she would speak in her language, or she pretended she was sleeping so that she would talk in her language and that, oh, I guess she is really doing that, like, you know.
Such a dumb thing. Because if you believe that she can understand you, then she understands you.
Right.
So stop talking in front of her.
Right, exactly. So how do you think the press dealt with finding out that her tale was false?
I don't know.
They fucking loved it.
No way. They were here for it?
They fucking loved it. They clowned so hard on the middle class for being so easily duped by this like poor person, even themselves, because they were the ones printing the story.
Wait, middle class?
Yeah, so like the Worrells and the people like the hoity-toities, they're upper middle class, you know. There was really no middle class back then, you know. It was like royalty, the middle class, the poor, you know. But this was not royalty. The Worrells are not royalty, but they're like the richer people of they live in a fucking mansion, so like, you know. But the newspaper were the ones like, look at this crazy thing that this woman is doing. And then they were like, look at how dumb these rich people were. They just like totally flipped the script and like played the Worrells out, and all the like dignitaries in the area. They were just like, you guys suck. Ha ha. You believed her story. You're dumb. They clowned on him so hard. So Elizabeth Worrell, she didn't turn her back on her girl. She felt so connected to her. So she paid to have Princess Caraboo fly to there was no planes. Take a ship, I guess. Right. A cruise. I don't know how they got over there. She went to Philadelphia.
Oh, to acting school?
She went to Philadelphia because, you know, Americans ate this story up like 2 peas in a biscuit.
Yeah.
She put on a Caraboo show. She came over to America and she like did a tour. We loved it. We love it.
Wow.
She wasn't as popular here as she was in London, but, you know, we were just like...
eating it up.
Yes. She left on June 28th, 1817. Her last contact with the Worrells was a letter from New York in which she complained of her notoriety. She eventually returned to Britain, and she exhibited herself around London as Princess Caraboo, like literally like sets on stage, like a full act, you know? But... you know, her popularity had died down a bit. She may have briefly traveled to France and Spain, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Like, the Wikipedia was like, we're not sure. Maybe that happened. She ended up marrying a man named Richard Baker, and they gave birth to a daughter named Mary Ann the following year in 1829. In 1839, she was selling leeches to the Bristol Infirmary Hospital because, you know, they...
yeah.
bloodletting or whatever. Which apparently was a pretty good gig. Like, she made decent money doing this. She died from a fall on Christmas Eve, 1864, and she was buried in a cemetery in Bristol. And her daughter carried on the business of selling leeches, living alone in Bedminster in a house full of cats until her death in February 1900.
So her daughter became a cat lady?
Yes. So there's a movie called Princess Caraboo.
Okay.
Starring Phoebe Cates, who you may know from The Fast Times at Ridgemont High or Drop Dead Fred or The Gremlins.
You know, when I was a kid, like, I worked at a supermarket and people would always say that I looked like her. All the damn time. I have pictures of me as a kid, and they would always say that.
I kind of have a crush on Phoebe Cates. It's not going to work for me. She's so cute. I loved her in Drop Dead Fred. Like, I just... yeah. Drop Dead Fred is, like, the stuff of my childhood, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the Gremlins, too, truly. Yeah. So I watched the movie. I was watching it today.
You did?
Yeah. It's 90s-tastic.
Really?
Like, it came out in 1991. The music, the soundtrack is just it's like set in London, and she just like, she doesn't talk for like a good section of the movie because she just like makes these hand gestures. She like makes grunting noises and shit. It's cute. Like if you want to like, it's a movie that you could see like playing on like TNT on a Saturday, like on repeat. So what'd you watch it on? I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to catch that.
It's cute. It was cute. I thought it was good. And the story is, like, the movie is based from the perspective, sort of the guy who writes the story in 1817, Matthew Gutch or whatever. Okay. The story is, like, based on him telling the story and how he ended up telling the story. But it's cute and good to, you know, it sticks to the story, basically. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
But I thought the story was so funny that
I've heard of Princess Caraboo. I've heard of it, but I just didn't know the story behind it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was just like a fraud that was like...
Wow.
And the thing that was like interesting to me is that Elizabeth Worrell, she was the one that brought her to the house. She was the one that invited her in. She was the one that bought her the clothes. Princess Caraboo never really asked for anything.
Right.
So, like, when they were trying to be like, oh, she's a vagrant, she's a beggar, she really wasn't. And that's what Worrell was like, she's not. She didn't ask us for anything. I'm giving it to her.
Right.
So, like, it kind of made it be, like, believable for them because they were like, oh, she didn't actually ask us for money.
Exactly.
She didn't actually, but they just, like, did it, you know?
Right.
And the funniest part of the whole story is, like, who's this fucking Portuguese sailor guy? And why did he make up all this shit? Like, was he part of her story? Like, we don't, like, there's no, like, evidence that he even was part of it.
The guy that said that she was speaking a real language?
Yeah, that was like, oh, her dad was from China and her mom was this, and just, like, said all this shit. She must have been like, yeah, what this guy said, definitely. Or did he, like, pull her aside and be like, bitch, I'm getting in on this or I'm going to blow your cover? Yeah. Like, what happened there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you could be of the party that he was faking it till he made it too.
Right.
Or that he pulled her aside and he was like, I see you.
Yeah, right. Or he caught her somehow and was like, I'm gonna fix, or was he in on it from the beginning? Did he like set her up, set her up in the town? Like, I got the perfect people for you to like fake this. Yeah. Just don't ever say any words in front of them.
I love that.
It's not like there's many people throughout history that were like nice to poor people for no fucking reason. Yeah. So like this poor lady was like, I just think she was like a bored American
probably
in London, was like, I need a hobby. This one doesn't speak my language. I'm going to pick her up. Like, what the fuck?
That whole, what is that called? Where Americans, we have this thing where we always want to help those that are otherly.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
They're not even in need. They're not even in need. They're just like, you seem poor.
Yeah.
You seem like you're struggling.
What is it? White savior.
Yes. Oh, God. I'm fucking guilty of that. I'm like guilty of it. Like, that's the same thing when like somebody posted in our group the other day about like, I found a raccoon. What do I do with it? It's like, it's that same thing. You're like, leave it alone. It's like, it fucking lives in the woods. Like, they have lived here for millennia. Leave it alone. It does not need you to rescue it.
Nope.
Isn't that so fucking stupid?
And we rescue it and give it an Instagram.
That made me laugh so hard. Like, and somebody else posted like the white curiosity. Like, I heard a noise. Yeah, fucking ignore it.
Oh, God.
Rich white people are so funny. And I'm pretty sure the girl was white. She was just like dirty. Yeah. Just like dirt on her.
She was tan.
They were like, why is it darker than me? It must be poor. I must save it from another land. You're like, what?
Wow. I love that. I love that for her. That, you know what though? She took a leap.
She did.
She fucking took a leap. She's like, yeah, I don't want to carry potatoes on my back anymore.
Yeah. The lady that, like, outed her or whatever, she was like, oh, she had been practicing that language at my house. Like, weeks before. That's why when she was like, she speaks a language, she's like, I know exactly who this... Because it's not like it was her picture in the paper, right? It was a fucking portrait. They didn't have cameras.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking portrait. And, like... Could you imagine, like, seeing a sketch drawing of someone and be like, I know exactly who... Like, when in history has that ever fucking worked?
There's, like, 80 people in the world.
One guy, like, what's his name? John List. Like, the one fucking sketch artist that ever worked in history. It's like 1817. Like, I know her. No, you the detail of like she's speaking this weird language no one knows. She's like, oh, it's that bitch from last year. Fucking staying at my house. I know exactly who that is.
Oh my god. But like, can you imagine if like the portraits were like the one that we had commissioned of us?
I like kind of think they were.
But
it's not like Picasso was drawing these fucking pictures.
No, but I mean, could you imagine if that portrait was in the newspaper of us, of the three of us, and somebody saw it and was like, I know who these three bitches are.
Cindy and the Anana's dress.
So silly.
That's my story of Princess Caraboo.
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
You should. It's cute. I thought it was so good.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was so good.
So that's it for us.
All right, then. All right, then. Bit of a joke for you.
All right, then. So we'll see you next week. Or you can hear us next week.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can subscribe so you don't miss out. We have a ton of episodes out for you. Write, review, share with somebody. Mm-hmm. Do all of the things that are required for participation. Let's get some participation in here.
Yeah.
Right? You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the socials, YouTube, everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you so want. We also have merch. Tell them, Cindy.
You can find any of our merch right through our linktree. We're with Teespring, but you just need to go to the linktree. You can actually see our merch right there.
People are loving it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean,
they love it.
New York Fashion Week is covering our merch.
Hi, Sadiddy. We have cups, we have hoodies, we have t-shirts. What you want? We got it. I'm opening my trunk up for you, my trench coat. You can get some merch from us.
We've had some people buy some stuff.
Yeah, come get it.
Come support us. And I guess we'll check you out next week. And remember, do not get taken to that second location. Be good or be good at hiding a body. Cheers.
Cheers.
Are you okay? Oh, Jesus Christ. You're so fucking loud.
You're disgusting and I hate you both.
Oh, God. I'm crying. Oh, my God. And holding my pee because I almost fucking peed myself.